There is a moment in every person's life when they realize something important. Their mind is not a fixed structure. It is not a prison made of habits, fears, and old beliefs. It is a system, a living, flexible system that can be rebuilt, upgraded, rewired. Most people never discover this. They move through life repeating the same patterns, making the same choices, feeling the same emotions, believing that this is just who I am. But the truth is far more powerful. You are not your habits, you are not your limitations, and you are not your past. You are the architect of your own mind, and the thoughts you choose today will shape the life you live tomorrow. In business, psychology, and philosophy, there is one idea shared by all great thinkers. Everything begins in the mind. Every achievement, every failure, every moment of courage, every moment of doubt. The battlefield is internal long before it becomes external. This video is not about motivation. It is about transformation, a deeper shift, a shift in the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you make decisions. Today, we will explore 5 powerful ideas. Ideas capable of breaking mental limits, dissolving old patterns, and unlocking a new level of clarity and strength. These are the ideas that leaders use to stay calm under pressure, that entrepreneurs use to turn obstacles into opportunities, that philosophers used for centuries to master their inner world. And here is the promise. If you truly understand these 5 ideas, not just hear them, but absorb them, your mind will not work the same way after this video. You will notice yourself thinking differently. You will respond to challenges differently. You will begin to feel a calm power inside you, the power that comes from awareness and control. So take a breath, slow down for a moment, and allow yourself to enter this space of reflection and growth. You are not here by accident. Something inside you is ready for change. Let's begin the journey. 5 ideas, 5 shifts, 1 new mind. Every action you take in life comes from one place, your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are. Most people try to change their behavior. They want to stop procrastinating, work harder, become more disciplined, more confident, more successful. But they start at the wrong level. They try to change the symptoms instead of the source. Because behavior does not shape identity. Identity shapes behavior. If you believe I'm the kind of person who can't focus, you will always find distraction. If you believe I'm unlucky, your mind will highlight every failure. If you believe I'm not good enough, you will sabotage every opportunity that appears in front of you. The mind is loyal and sometimes to the wrong master. Once it accepts a belief, it will work tirelessly to prove that belief true. But here is the truth that few people understand. Identity is not fixed. It is programmable. It can be rewritten. The ancient philosophers knew this. The Stoics practiced becoming the person they wanted to be long before they actually became them. In modern psychology, this is called self-schema, the mental blueprint of your character. In business, leaders use this concept to develop what is known as executive identity, a mindset that shapes how they think and make decisions. Your identity determines how you react to pressure, how you handle failure, how you treat your goals, how much you believe you deserve, and what you allow yourself to attempt. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. Think of it like software. Your habits, actions, and daily choices are just programs running on top of a deeper operating system, your identity. If the operating system is outdated, nothing on the surface will change, no matter how many new habits you try to install. So the question becomes, how do you upgrade your identity? How do you rewrite the story of who you are? 1. Become aware of your old identity scripts. The first step is noticing the sentences that run in your mind. They often sound like this: I'm always late. I can't stay consistent. I'm not disciplined. That's just how I am. These statements are not truths. They are decisions. Decisions you made unconsciously, often years ago, and repeated until they became part of your identity. But an identity built unconsciously can be rebuilt consciously. 2. Replace labels with direction. Instead of saying I'm undisciplined, you replace it with a direction. I'm learning discipline. I'm becoming more focused. I'm improving every day. This small shift creates a psychological phenomenon called identity expansion. where your mind opens space for a new version of you to exist. You're no longer trapped in a fixed definition. You are now on a path. 3. Act as the identity you want to become. Identity changes through action, not massive action, consistent action. If you want to become a disciplined person, do something small with discipline today. If you want to become a leader, make one decision today as a leader would. If you want to think like an entrepreneur, take one calculated risk or solve one real problem today. Each small action is a vote for the new version of yourself. This is how identity rewires. Not instantly, not through motivation, through repetition of actions that match the person you want to be. 4. Use the future self lens. Ask yourself, what would the future version of me do right now? Not tomorrow, not someday, right now, in this exact moment. Your future self is your greatest guide. It has already lived the life you want. It knows what decisions lead to growth and what decisions lead to regret. By acting according to your future identity, you collapse time. You begin to live as that person now. 5. Remove the identities imposed by others. Many people live inside identities that are not even theirs. Labels from family, opinions from teachers, judgments from society, expectations from old friends. At some point, you have to ask yourself, who am I without the noise? Who am I without their voices in my head? The moment you let go of borrowed identities, you reclaim your power to shape your own. Identity is the foundation of all change. When you shift your identity, your habits shift, your priorities shift, your standards shift, your goals shift, your entire life shifts. Because life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you are worthy of. And here is the final secret. You do not become a new person. You return to the person you were always capable of being, the one buried under doubt, fear, and old stories. This is the power of identity. This is the first step in rewiring your mind, not by forcing change, but by becoming the version of yourself who no longer needs to force it. If identity is the foundation of your mind, then focus is the force that shapes your reality. In a world full of noise, distraction, and endless stimulation, the ability to concentrate, truly concentrate, has become a rare ability. But here is the paradox. What is rare becomes valuable, and what is valuable becomes power today. The most dangerous thing for the modern mind is not failure. It is fragmentation. A mind constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, unable to stay with one thought long enough to create progress. Most people live in a state of mental scattering. Notifications, endless scrolling, dopamine hits, multitasking, jumping from task to task, idea to idea, emotion to emotion. They feel busy, but they are not effective. They are not moving forward. They are only moving their attention. But the greatest thinkers, philosophers, and entrepreneurs all share one trait: the ability to hold focus like a blade. Sharp, clean, precise, not chaotic, not reactive, directed. Focus is not just concentration. Focus is your capacity to control your own mind. And whoever controls their mind, controls their life. The illusion of multitasking. Modern society glorifies multitasking. But cognitive science is clear. The human brain cannot focus on multiple complex tasks at the same time. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and every switch has a cost. You lose mental energy, you lose clarity, you lose memory, you lose momentum. This is why people work for hours and accomplish nothing meaningful. A distracted mind creates a distracted life. A focused mind creates a powerful life. Dopamine, the invisible engineer of your attention. Focus is not just about willpower, it is about chemistry. Your brain has a system that regulates reward and attention. Dopamine. This system evolved for survival, not for smartphones, constant alerts, and infinite digital stimulation. Every time you switch apps, scroll a feed, or check your phone without intention, you teach your brain one thing: distraction equals reward. Your brain becomes addicted to novelty, not progress, not depth, not mastery, just tiny hits of stimulation. And once your brain learns this pattern, long-term focus begins to feel painful. Your mind resists anything that does not give instant reward. That's why deep work feels uncomfortable. It uses a system that modern life has weakened. But the good news is, dopamine pathways can be reset. They can be retrained through intentional habits. Attention is a muscle, and you can train it. Just like your body becomes stronger with resistance, your mind becomes sharper through intentional focus. Start small. 10 minutes of uninterrupted work, turn off notifications, one task, not three, monotasking instead of multitasking, short, focus sprints, separating creation time from consumption time. Every minute of trained attention rewires the mind. You are teaching your brain, depth is reward, presence is reward, focus is reward. This is how you reclaim control. The ancient principle of one thing. Philosophers from east to west taught the same lesson. Success is born from singularity. Stoics practiced attending to the present moment with full intensity. Zen monks trained their attention through meditation and simple daily rituals. Modern entrepreneurs use the same principle in business. Eliminate the noise. Focus on the one action that creates 80% of the results. If you want more power in life, reduce the number of battles. If you want deeper results, reduce the number of distractions. Because a mind split in many directions is weak. A mind concentrated in one direction is unstoppable. Focus creates compounding results. Think of focus like financial investment. When you concentrate your effort on one skill, one goal, one direction, your progress compounds. 1 hour today is connected to 1 hour yesterday. Your knowledge builds, your skill grows, your intuition sharpens. But when your attention is scattered, progress resets every day. You start from zero again and again. This is why unfocused people feel stuck. It's not because they lack talent, it's because they lack continuity. Focus is how you build momentum. Momentum is how you build mastery. Mastery is how you build a life worth living. The power of focus is simple. What you focus on becomes your reality. Your mind will always grow in the direction you aim it. Aim it at distractions, and you will build nothing. Aim it at purpose, and you will build everything. This is the second step in rewiring your mind, restoring the ability to give your full attention to what truly matters. If focus is a superpower, then control is your shield. And the philosophy that masters control better than any other is Stoicism. For thousands of years, leaders, warriors, emperors, and thinkers practiced this simple but profound idea. You cannot control the world, but you can always control your mind. This is the Stoic advantage. Not emotionlessness, not coldness, but clarity, the ability to stay grounded when life becomes chaotic, and to act with reason when others act with impulse. In business, Stoicism protects you from panic, overreaction, fear, ego, and attachment. In psychology, it stabilizes your mental state. In philosophy, it gives you a compass, a way to navigate uncertainty. Stoicism is not ancient, it is timeless. And today, in a world of overstimulation and emotional volatility, it is more relevant than ever. The dichotomy of control, the core of Stoicism. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies one principle. Some things are in your control, some things are not. Focus only on the things that are. This sounds simple, but if you truly live it, your entire emotional world transforms. You cannot control what people think of you, external events, the past, the future outcomes. But you can control your decisions, your effort, your reactions, your standards, the story you tell yourself about what happens. Imagine how powerful you become when you stop wasting energy on what you cannot change. Your mind becomes lighter. Your emotions become calmer. Your actions become sharper. Most suffering comes from resisting reality. Stoicism removes this resistance. It teaches acceptance, not weakness. Acceptance as a strategy. Emotional mastery is a skill, not a gift. Stoics were not emotionless. They felt everything: fear, anger, doubt, pain. But they refused to be ruled by those feelings. Modern psychology agrees. Emotions are signals, not commands. A Stoic mind asks, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Is this reaction helping me? Is this fear real or imagined? In business, most mistakes happen when emotions override logic. In life, most regrets are emotional decisions made too quickly. The Stoic pauses, breathes, responds, instead of reacting. This pause is power. This pause is wisdom. Negative visualization, strength through acceptance. One of the most misunderstood practices of Stoicism is premeditatio malorum, the meditation on potential difficulties. It does not mean being pessimistic. It means preparing your mind. When you visualize challenges, failure loses its power, fear loses its intensity, pressure becomes familiar, unexpected events no longer break you. The Stoics knew a truth that modern society tries to ignore. Comfort makes the mind weak. Preparedness makes the mind strong. When you accept that obstacles are part of the journey, you stop seeing them as threats. You start seeing them as training. This is why entrepreneurs who embrace setbacks grow faster. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? The Stoic mindset in modern life. A Stoic mind does not break under stress. It becomes sharper. A Stoic mind does not complain about problems. It uses them as sharpening stones. A Stoic mind does not wait for perfect conditions. It acts with what it has. A Stoic mind does not fear the unknown. It adapts, it learns, it endures, and it prevails. Stoicism gives you emotional stability, mental toughness, inner peace, logical decision-making clarity under pressure, resilience in business and life. These are rare qualities, and rare qualities make rare individuals. The Stoic advantage. In a noisy, reactive world, the person who stays calm has the advantage. The person who controls themselves wins. The person who acts with logic while others panic has already risen above the majority. Stoicism is not about feeling less. It's about fearing less. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about becoming stronger than the pain. This is the third step in rewiring your mind, developing an inner fortress built on discipline, clarity, and control. A fortress no one can take from you, a strength no one can break, a mindset that remains steady no matter the storm. If Stoicism gives you emotional control, mental models give you cognitive clarity, the ability to think better, faster, and deeper than the average mind. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they use the wrong thinking tools. They rely on instinct, emotion, or guesswork instead of structured reasoning. Mental models are frameworks, ways of seeing the world that help you make smarter decisions in business, life, relationships, and personal growth. They remove confusion. They cut through noise. They turn complexity into simplicity. When you adopt powerful mental models, your thinking becomes a weapon, not a weakness. Let's explore three of the most transformative ones. The 80-20 rule, first principles thinking, and inversion. 1. The 80-20 rule. Focus on the vital few. The 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, states 80% of results come from 20% of actions. This applies to nearly everything in life. 20% of clients bring 80% of revenue. 20% of habits create 80% of progress. 20% of problems cause 80% of stress. 20% of effort drives 80% of success. The average person treats all tasks equally. The strategic thinker separates the trivial from the essential. When you apply the 80-20 rule, you stop wasting energy. You stop chasing everything. You stop drowning in busyness. Instead, you ask, what are the few actions that create the biggest impact? If something does not move you forward in a meaningful way, you drop it, delegate it, or simplify it. This mental model rewires your idea of productivity. You realize progress is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. True power comes from leverage, small actions with enormous returns. 2. First principles thinking. Break it down to the truth. Popularized by philosophers and used expertly by modern entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. First principles thinking teaches you to break problems down to their fundamental truths. Instead of asking, how is this usually done? You ask, what is actually true here? This model helps you escape assumptions, traditions, and limits inherited from others. Most people copy strategies. They imitate beliefs. They follow patterns without questioning them. First principles thinking destroys mental autopilot. It forces you to analyze. What is the problem made of? What are the basic components? What do I know for certain? What assumptions can I remove? What solution becomes possible once everything unnecessary is stripped away? This is how breakthroughs are created. This is how innovators think. This is how you build something original instead of repeating the past. When you adopt first principles thinking, you stop accepting limits. You start designing solutions. 3. Inversion. Think backwards to move forward. One of the most powerful tools in decision-making is inversion, the practice of flipping a question around. Instead of asking, "How do I succeed?" you ask, "What would cause me to fail?" Instead of asking, "How do I become productive?" you ask, "What behaviors destroy productivity?" Instead of asking, "How do I become happy?" you ask, "What habits guarantee misery?" This model works because humans are better at identifying problems than imagining solutions. By understanding what to avoid, you naturally move closer to what works. Inversion clears your path, remove the obstacles, and progress becomes effortless. It also destroys self-sabotage, because most failures do not come from lack of knowledge, but from repeated mistakes that could have been prevented. Mental models make you a high-level thinker. When you combine these models, 80-20, first principles inversion, your thinking rises to a higher level. You stop reacting, you start strategizing, you make decisions that others cannot. You see patterns others overlook. You simplify what others complicate. You understand cause and effect. Mental models make your mind efficient. Less effort, more clarity. Less confusion, more direction. Less noise, more truth. The mind that thinks clearly lives clearly. Mental models are not just tools. They are lenses that shape your perception. And perception shapes reality. When you see the world more clearly, you move through it more effectively. You make better choices. You respond with intelligence instead of impulse. You become intentional instead of reactive. This is the fourth step in rewiring your mind. Not just controlling how you feel, but elevating how you think. A sharper mind leads to a better life. A clearer mind leads to better decisions. And better decisions lead to the future you want. If identity shapes who you are, if focus directs your mind, if stoicism strengthens your inner world, if mental models clarify your thinking, then there is one final idea that brings everything together: the ability to think long-term. Short-term thinking is the greatest trap of the modern age. People want quick money, quick results, quick success, quick recognition. They chase speed instead of depth. They chase intensity instead of consistency. But every great achievement in human history, every empire, every business, every masterpiece, every transformation was built by someone who played the long game. Not days, not weeks, years, decades, a lifetime. The long-term mindset is not just a strategy, it is a philosophy, a way of living that separates the strong from the average, the builders from the dreamers, the consistent from the chaotic. When you master this idea, everything in your life begins to shift. The compounding effect, small actions, massive results. In finance, compounding turns small investments into enormous wealth over time. But in psychology and personal development, compounding is even more powerful. Every habit compounds. Every skill compounds. Every hour of focus compounds. Every decision compounds. The problem is that these returns are invisible at first. You don't see progress. You don't feel momentum. You don't experience reward. And because most people need instant gratification, they quit right before the curve of exponential growth begins. In life, the biggest rewards come not to the most talented, but to the most patient. Consistency beats intensity. Longevity beats speed. Endurance beats excitement. Playing the long game means trusting the process even when the results are not visible. Yet, the long-term thinker avoids emotional decisions. Short-term thinking is emotional thinking. Fear, impatience, ego, comparison, insecurity, desire for approval. These emotions push you to quit too early, start too many things, switch directions, or abandon what actually matters. The long-term thinker does the opposite. He steps back. He observes. He acts with intention, not impulse. When your timeline expands, your emotions shrink. Problems look smaller. Failures look temporary. Setbacks look educational. Challenges look like part of the path. A long horizon creates mental stability. Modern society destroys long-term thinking. Today's world rewards speed. Likes, views, viral moments, instant gratification. Platforms are designed to hijack your attention and shorten your patience. Corporations want you impulsive. Algorithms want you addicted. Society wants you hurried. But hurried minds make poor decisions. A person who can only think in the short term becomes reactive, insecure, and easily manipulated. The modern world creates impatience. Philosophy restores patience. Strategy turns patience into power. When you think long-term, you become resistant to trends, noise, comparison, and emotional storms. You rise above the mental chaos that traps most people. The 10-year principle. Ask yourself a simple question. What would happen if I stayed consistent for 10 years? Not perfect, not extreme, just consistent. 10 years of learning, building, improving, focusing, investing in yourself, developing skills, mastering your mind. The difference between who you are now and who you would be in 10 years of continuous improvement is almost unimaginable. Most people underestimate what they can do in a decade and overestimate what they can do in a week. This is why they quit. This is why they restart. This is why they stay stuck. But the long-term thinker embraces the 10-year game because he knows the future version of himself will thank him. The long-term mind creates the long-term life. When you commit to the long game, your standards rise, your vision expands your emotional control, strengthens your identity, upgrades your progress, compounds your results, become inevitable. It is not about speed. It is about trajectory. It is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is not about quick wins. It is about meaningful wins. This is the final step in rewiring your mind. Thinking beyond the moment. Thinking beyond the noise. Thinking beyond the impulses of today. A strong mind does not rush. A strong mind builds. Brick by brick. Day by day. Year by year. Because greatness is not an event. Greatness is a direction. If you've reached this point, something inside you has already changed. Not because of the words you just heard, but because you allowed yourself to listen, to slow down, to reflect, to think deeper than most people ever will. We explored 5 powerful ideas, 5 shifts capable of rewiring the way you experience your life. Identity, who you choose to become. Focus, the ability to direct your mind. Stoicism, emotional control and inner strength. Mental models, clarity in a chaotic world. Long-term thinking, the strategy that makes progress inevitable. These ideas are not theories. They are tools, and tools only change your life when you use them. Most people will forget what they heard today. They will return to distraction, to old patterns, to unconscious living. But you have a choice to become the architect of your own mind, to build yourself intentionally, to step into the future with clarity and purpose. Because your mind is not fixed, it is not limited, it is not finished. It is a system you can upgrade, strengthen, and redesign at any moment. If these ideas resonated with you, don't let them fade. Revisit them, apply them, turn them into habits, turn them into identity, turn them into a new way of thinking, and remember this: your life expands in proportion to the strength of your mind. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. This is your moment, your turning point, your mind shift. Stay focused, stay disciplined, stay aware, and keep becoming the person you were meant to be.